The goal of exercise 4 in chapter 5 is to implement matrix addition element-wise using two for loops. So we are going to have a for loop over the rows and a for loop over the columns, and then we are going to add the two corresponding matrix elements piece by piece. It's a brutal, absolutely brutal, horrendous way to do matrix addition. And needless to say, in practice, you never want to do this sort of thing for reasons that I think will be very clear when I show you the code. But I do really like these kinds of exercises because writing out all of the individual elements for the addition operation, I think really hits home the concept of matrix addition. Okay, and what happens when you try to add two matrices with matching sides? And yeah, this is about thinking about matrices and breaking them down into individual elements. So I wrote a Python function called add matrices. It takes two inputs, matrix A and matrix B. I'll get back to this point in a moment. And here I initialize a third matrix. This is the output matrix. And you can see here is the double for loop. So I'm looping over all the rows and then I'm looping over all the columns. And then we set each element in matrix C to be the sum of the element in matrix. So the ith, jth element in A plus the ith, jth element in B. And then we return that. So, you know, when you're doing this in practice, you can just say M1 plus M2. And this does everything you need. And it's going to be faster because it's compiled. But I do like this. This is the way to think about matrix addition as being element-wise. Maybe this seems really intuitive and obvious, and you don't know why I'm wasting a whole exercise on this really painfully obvious thing. But you will see when we get to matrix multiplication, it is not trivial. When you multiply two matrices, you cannot just do this. Actually, that is true for one specific type of multiplication, but that is generally not true of standard matrix multiplication. Okay, very nice. So let's see. So let me get rid of this now. And here we see that, we're adding zeros and ones, and so the result is going to be all ones. Okay, now we can see what happens when we input a matrix that is a different size from the first matrix. So what happens is we get an error, and that error happens because I said there should be an error there. But you can see when you look at this double for loop, it's obvious why this is going to be a problem if the matrices are not the same size. If they're not the same size, you cannot add them up element by element.